Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement presented by Barstool Sports and 3Chi. It is Robbie Fox back again to recap Moon Knight with Clem. This is Moon Knight episode 4 and business has picked up with this show. Quoting the legendary JR, and I think it's worthy of that because this episode ends with a complete mindfuck.
Bob, we're in a bad, weird place that luckily we've been in before. We were basically in this place for most of WandaVision looking back, which is when we started ramping up all these recaps. So it feels good to have my brain cramp up a little bit, especially at the end there. So it was weird. I feel like the first half of the episode felt very like it was like a template basic. It was like your mummy movie, archaeology, Indiana Jones, whatever you want to call it, movie. And then the end was like you said, mind fuck. that was not rehearsed, people. The people on YouTube just saw the double blaring explosion by all those. That came organically because of Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, White Rooms, whatever the fuck you're going to tell me. Which again, shout out Jose Youngs for at least telling us shit's going to get weird. Because when I saw that, I go, oh, that's right. Jose did warn us about that. And Jose, did you see him get on his thread the other day?
I saw his thread. He was threading. I know. Yeah.
Jose Youngs is threading on our asses. It is like, shit's crazy. This is why shit is crazy. So
we're going to get him on, by the way. He's had a crazy travel schedule, but I hit him up last week and I was like, you let us know when you're caught up on Moon Knight and we'll have him on for a recap episode. But he's totally in for that. He's in for a Thor preview episode. So
awesome.
For the Jose Youngs heads out there, I don't know if that's like the name for his fans. He will be back. He will be back very soon. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, like I was even going to say, like, do we have Jose on? But I think we almost need to, we have to, feel a little bit out for ourselves. We can't just have him hold our hand and bring it. What's the point of watching the show, right?
He's it's like when you're learning to ride a bike. He's like our parents, have to get us started, and then we just got to start pedaling. We got to see if we could do it. It's a leap of faith with this show. And like you said, the beginning of this episode, it felt like Indiana Jones, Mummy, sort of like those kind of movies to me. And then the second half was just crazy. And it was maybe not the second half, maybe just the ending, but we'll kind of go through it. It's another one of these where it's like going through it beat for beat. It would take a while. So I did put bullet points and kind of a shorter way. And we could talk about the episode in a more general way, the series in a more general way. So it starts with Steven in the body with Layla, going off of last week when he helped Khonshu change the sky and all of that. Yep. She wakes him up. She uses some fireworks against some guys. She also uses flares a lot in this episode. And flares now, I just see flares and I think of Batman. It's like such every single time I was like, oh shit, remember the Batman? That was fucking sick on HBO Max. Now I watched it already. I'm excited I'm going to Columbus for a wedding this weekend. And some friends were like, you want to come over and watch the Batman with us? I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Layla and Steven also start getting romantic in this episode, which is interesting because it's like, is Layla cheating on Mark with Steven? How do we think of this philosophically, Clem?
I wanted to bring that up to you. So how do we feel about that? Are you cheating on your husband if you're cheating with the same body but a different part of his personality or mental state?
I don't know. I don't think you're cheating.
I think it's like you're not physically cheating, but you're mentally cheating. I don't know. I feel like it's like a half a strike. Can you have a half a strike in baseball? I don't know. It's like being you can't be
Schrodinger's strike.
Yeah, you can't be partially pregnant, right? So that doesn't make sense either. It was what show? Oh, it was when Loki. We're like, if Loki and girl Loki fuck. Or is he fucking himself? Is it masturbation? Is it sex? Is it incest? Marvel is here just breaking our brains every single series. I don't know what to think. So what are we going to say? Are we going to say it was just a kiss for now?
I think it's like she just gets a pass. This is such a crazy scenario that, hell, it's like, hey, you get two boyfriends.
Yeah. And hey, I think not to get X-rated on the podcast here, get weird with it, but I imagine Steven is a much different lover than Mark.
Oh, I bet he is.
No, the should go to Mark. I think Steven stinks at sex. Steven is no better than a 4 out of 10 at sex.
Oh, no Steven slander in this episode. This was a great episode for my guy Steven. I wrote down the first note that I wrote down for this episode, Clem, was that Steven walks by camels and he says, oh, hello. Mark definitely doesn't look at the camels and say hello like that.
Agreed. He has his fucking accent. Bob, if your first note was Steven is a great love maker, I know, listen, Steven is definitely a gentle love maker. I'm not going to say he's not.
Yeah.
But Mark takes care of it. Like I said it last week, Steven buys the Call Her Daddy merch, not really knowing the whole story behind it. Mark knows Alex Cooper on a personal basis. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
I wrote down one of the funniest things I thought, and I don't even think it was intentionally funny from Layla, was "You smell like him." Maybe it was intentionally funny, but that was just like, it's such a funny thing to say to someone that has a split personality. Like, oh my God, you smell just like your other personality.
I like that line. Yep. And like you said in the beginning, a lot of Mummy Indiana Jones, there was two beats that I don't know if other people got the same feeling I did. The Jeep coming down the hill, I was like, I got kind of Jurassic Park vibes because it had the lights on top. And then she took the flare out, and I'm like, are we recreating the T-Rex scene? What the hell is going on right now? And then the stuff in the back of the Jeep when she throws the flares into the thing and the fireworks. I got who is it? Oh shoot, I'm gonna kill myself for not remembering this. In Back to the Future, Hugo at Doc Brown again.
It's like the it's a country, right?
Yeah,
it's like a Middle Eastern country
Syrians
that was
or something like
like
that.
attacking. Wasn't it like kind of political at the time? Like it was someone that
the Libyans.
The Libyans.
I don't know how they found me, Marty. It's the Libyans. So yeah, I guess the Libyans were like a scary country back then, Libya. But speaking of scary, tough look for our girl Layla. Layla, we learned during this episode, can hold her own, tip of the cap. When your signature weapon is a flare, that's pretty fucking. That's a tough pill to swallow right there. She's gonna have to
I've been playing so much Lego Star Wars that it just reminds me of, like, when you have to play as a shitty character for a level and you're like, oh shit, I don't have a lightsaber now. Like, I just have a and there's also I noticed yesterday there's like I don't know if it's a cheat code. It's like something that you could buy and activate for the game that turns all lightsabers into baguettes. Thought that was funny. Lego,
that's awesome. I love
they don't miss,
Yep. They appreciate the finer things in life, like turning lightsabers into baguettes. I appreciate that.
By the way, the baguette from Panera, an all-time side.
The baguette. People are all right, listen, Moon Knight diehards here. We're going to go off track a little. You know how we do it here. We're fucking Stephen Grant, now we're turning into like Mark Spector, whatever. The baguette. There's like 3 things that can kill a diet. As a man that has, started diets, they die. I can tell you, number 1 is fast food restaurants. They always unleash like the really fun promotions, like that first week of February, that last week of January. That's when the McFlurry is back with Rolos, or like the McDonald's Monopoly. I feel like was always coming back right when I was like, all right, I think I'm in a good place. I have a good strategy. 2 is like the holidays, no matter what, like every other month, it's just a sugar holiday. It's Easter, it's Christmas, it's Halloween. It's like every 2 months, it's like, well, I have 1,000 pieces of candy in the house, especially with kids. You're completely. And then number 3 is the baguette, where you're like, all right, I'm being good. I'm getting a salad. I'm going to treat myself. Like grilled chicken's fine. We'll get some corn in there, just a little bit of ranch for daddy. Daddy needs a little ranch, a little bit of flavor. And they're like, do you want the baguette? And you're like, I should say no. I'll just get the baguette. I'll have like a bite of it, just to, get something in me. And then you end up housing the baguette and the salad you just don't give a fuck about. So goddamn the baguette.
I love the baguette so much. I throw in an extra baguette, dip it in the soup. Oh my God, it's absolutely delicious. By the way, speaking of food, speaking of trying to get on diets and whatnot, we got a sponsor this week, HelloFresh, where you can put in your own meal plan, your own diet plan, and they can help you out with restaurant quality meal for a fraction of the price. That's why they are America's #1 meal kit, of course. They deliver pre-portioned ingredients right to your door, so you get convenience without skimping on quality. Skip that trip to the grocery store. You don't have to waste your time going out, picking out all the different ingredients, and then you're going to have excess that you're not going to use. Nope, this is all pre-portioned. You have your 50 different weekly options, and then you could skip weeks when you need to, change a delivery date, update your preferences, all in the HelloFresh app. I actually saw in my building a HelloFresh box outside as I was coming in last night, and I brought it in for the people. I don't know who it is in my building, but it was outside, and I felt a little bit of pride. I was like, I hope they used our promo code. It's like the great word of HelloFresh is spreading.
I choose to believe that that's a basement boy who ordered that, or a
Yeah.
basement girl, or a basement couple, even better. And they're
Yep.
making themselves some nice, delicious meals. They're saving some money. They're getting a little thinner. They're eating well. They're not eating the baguettes at the Panera, which is delicious, but it's dangerous. So you go to your HelloFresh, and like I said, and like they have the stuff where it's like, hey, I'm looking at calorie count. You have that option. Hey, I
Yep.
don't care. I'm just going to feed my family. That's the one I went with last time. So it's like, go with
They have
whatever you want.
all the look at this. They have customize your favorite dishes with their new HelloFresh custom offerings by swapping out one protein or one side for another. So you could get real specific with it, mix and match at this point, upgrade for a more luxe experience, or even adding protein to a veggie meal. So that gives you more choices, more variety, more meals truly tailored to your appetite. It's amazing, saves you so much time. Go to HelloFresh.com/16Robbie. Use the promo code 16Robbie. You will get up to 16 free meals and, of course, 3 free gifts. Every time we tell you we don't know what the gifts are, could be an infinity gauntlet. It could be a carrot. We don't know.
And if you use the promo code, if you use 16 Robbie, Robbie will bring your HelloFresh box inside your house to be protected from the elements, any
Yep,
kind of
yep.
thieves out there. That is the my mom's basement promise.
Yeah, like I picture myself as like a pizza delivery guy like Tobey Maguire on Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, there you
Did you
go.
see that they actually put out like a Doctor Strange commercial that's very stylized in the Sam Raimi style, where it's like kind of like a drone camera going through with the Doctor Strange cape, and it goes through a Joe's Pizza delivery truck, like
Oh, I
from
didn't see that.
Spider-Man 2, which I was
Nice.
like, oh shit, it'd be cool if they referenced something like that in the movie because it's the Raimi verse, you know?
Go to town with those Easter eggs. Do like get crazy with it, like not over the top. Get the emo dance or something like that. I'm asking for that very kindly. But other than that, load them onto me. Nothing but Easter eggs, baby.
Another random Marvel thing I saw this week that I thought was worth mentioning. We did a little Thor teaser trailer breakdown, which you could watch on YouTube if you are on
YouTube
the YouTube
exclusive.
now. YouTube exclusive, that's right. And we talked about our thoughts on that. I read that Thor Love and Thunder is actually the first Marvel movie to use the volume, which was like created for the Mandalorian. That's the LED screen
Mm.
that goes all the way around, and they could kind of edit it as they're filming with the Unreal Engine and stuff like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like our boys Favreau and Filoni, not that they were the ones that came up with the volume, obviously, but they were the ones that took the chance on using it for that show for the first time. And just Lucasfilm and ILM yet again innovating.
Innovating, changing the goddamn game once again.
Pretty damn cool.
And I actually shout out. I met a guy at Chicago last night after the Dozen show, and he said he works for Marvel in the finance department. But I said, hey, does Feige have that whiteboard? And he said, how did you know? So I'm just gonna say, sources confirm. Source confirms. That's single source.
That's pretty
That's
cool. You
just
met
one.
someone that works for Marvel.
Yeah, he's like, I work for Marvel. I was like, oh, it's awesome, man. He's like, I just work for finance. I'm like, that's still awesome,
That's
though.
still cool. Yeah. Yeah.
You're just
Absolutely. I agree.
you're nerdier. You make a lot of money. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
We have like we're not going to meet Kevin Feige by meeting some producer. I mean, maybe Waldron one day. Maybe
Waldron.
Waldron.
Yeah.
If you're
I can
listening,
see
please,
that.
please. But if not, the finance department just gets me in the back door. And I just need to get a picture of that goddamn whiteboard because this show has a lot of shit going on. The whiteboard will answer it in a tidy fashion.
Oh my, but by the end of it, I was like afraid of the color white with all the white walls and everything. I was like, oh my God, no, don't give me a whiteboard at this point. They confront creatures in this episode that are pretty fucking creepy. Like, I mean, kind of like mummy style creepy, where it's dark, it's kind of hard to see, and it's like once you see them, you're like, all right, yeah, that's a fake little CGI practical effect mixture creature. And Steven squishes it. I think my favorite line of the episode is when he throws the bookshelf over and he's like, I squished it. I squished it.
That was a good line.
It made me laugh.
That's something I would say. Like, I'm expecting Steven to say something else. Like, no, I squished it. I squished it like a mug.
And they find out that in their search for Amit's final resting place, the final location of Amit's tomb, it's actually also Alexander the Great's lost tomb. Like this is one and the same. And in a gross moment, Steven has to pull the wrapping, the mummified wrapping off of this sarcophagus, like the face, and you hear the dust coming off of it and you hear the crackles and everything. And he realizes since this was the voice of Amit, he was gonna have to reach into the fucking throat to pull out the little figurine that he needs. And that it really shockingly disgusted me, Clem.
So this fucked up my brain This scene fucked me on for a few reasons, right? Seeing it all done was just gross. Just imagine going down a mummy's like throat. The whole Alexander the Great. It's like, oh, we're going to like real life into mixing real life.
Indiana Jones-esque, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like I had said last episode, the Kanye line for Monster, put the pussy in a sarcophagus. Now she claiming that I bruised her esophagus. And he goes down Alexander the Great's goddamn esophagus.
He bruises Alexander the Great's esophagus, yeah.
So we are just like, I'm in like my mind now. I'm starting to like not know what's a dream, what's real. Is this podcast even a thing, or is it all in my brain? I'm starting to get fucking creeped out.
Can a listener tweet us like almost like an inspirational quote card with Stephen Grant or Mark Spector on it that just has that Kanye line, but
yes.
Credit it to him,
Or that should have been like one of the Moon Knight fake word bubbles where he's just doing the Kanye line
from the comic. Yeah.
By the way, little slight left turn. The Kanye, I watched part 1 of the Kanye Genius Netflix doc. Loved it. I haven't watched 2 or 3. I just watched the first one. I followed Kanye since the minute I had heard of him, like right around Blueprint. And then I got his College Dropout the day it came out because I was a big fan.
Wow.
I never saw this young a Kanye. They meet him in 98. That's way before.
That's when I was born.
I mean, that's when Bob Fox was goddamn born. That's how long ago it was. And he is this scrawny little dude. He's kind of like a little bit of a pretty boy, but not crazy over the top. And he's not, obviously, he always says like, he has a little bit of arrogance to him, but not nearly as much as I thought. But he kind of like carries himself like that. So I fucking loved it. If you liked, at one point of your life, liked Kanye West, because I don't know if anyone could like him in 2022.
Yeah.
It's a must-watch series. And especially if
I gotta check that out. I let it slip through the cracks, to be honest.
The only reason I watched it is because I downloaded the Showtime Lakers show, and for some reason the 4th episode didn't like download all the way. So I downloaded the Kanye. I was like, shit, I'm on the plane. I'm like, do I just skip the episode? No, I'm just gonna watch Kanye. So if they keep bringing up esophaguses and scarophaguses, I'm gonna have
that song in the show. Oh my god, how much would you go crazy if that kicks in an episode?
It kind of fits too, right?
Yeah, they use Day and Night by Kid Cudi and shit. Yep. Yeah.
We have monsters too. By the way, those monsters, I did not like that. I did not like those monsters. We had a jump scare going on.
Yeah.
It gave me
a very dark episode. The first half of the episode is very dark, by the way. I was watching it and had to close the blinds because like I had a little glare and just couldn't see shit. It was like Game of Thrones all over again.
Oh, and this, oh my God, what are the odds that you say Game of Thrones? As I was about to say, those monsters reminded me of the grayscale monsters in Game of Thrones.
They can't touch you.
Man, I'm starting not to know what's real and what's fake anymore. I turned into Mark Spector, right? I flew this morning.
What you're gonna say? I already downloaded that data because it's all a simulation. Yeah,
I flew like I have post-flight brain right now, and nothing feels.
You did fly back today. Credit to you for hopping in the basement late tonight.
Got to do it. We've had everyone saying, I don't know what the hell's going on in Moon Knight. So a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, and everyone check out The Dozen, by the way. I don't know when you'll be listening to this, but the semifinals and finals are going up this week. So, if you're listening to this by the end of this week, they'll probably be up.
Well, you say this week because they were supposed to go out tonight, as in Wednesday night when we tape this. And now it's been moved to tomorrow at 11. But by the time it might be like Saturday at this point, the way I can see Jeff's fear in his eyes. Jeff, if you're listening, shout out to you because I know Jeff's freaking the fuck out right now. He's losing his mind. He's definitely got a little better. I can tell like his tweets. He was like, all right, guys, it's fucked. I'm sorry. But great time. Shout out to everyone.
I didn't even realize that, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. He tweeted it out. And this is what's going to happen. If this thing doesn't go out, Jeff's going to start fucking mummifying people by cutting them up. That thing where they had all the blood and
the bones,
the meaty bits. And I was like,
meaty bits was such a gross way of putting it. You picture like steak tips or something.
That should be a new lowering the bar where Vibs just brings meaty bits and people have to eat meaty bits. You don't even know what the hell it is. It just freaked me the fuck out. But I will say
that was really gross. Yeah.
Like your guy, Steven, he held his own in a very tough scene. This entire pyramid thing. This is a Mark scene.
Mark didn't believe in him.
Yeah, Mark didn't believe in him.
Give me the body. They had a great back and forth this episode when Mark punched him in the face for kissing his wife. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, find out who Layla. Like, do you think we'll actually like see Layla's dad at some point, like a flashback or something like that? Do you think that's going to come by the end of the series or the season, I should say?
Maybe. I could see that being like a cool cold open to an episode, like almost seeing what
Yeah.
happened that night or something, even the mercenary night. They did reference that whole thing, obviously at the end, skipping forward a bit. Arthur Harrow once again tries to convince Layla that Mark had to do with Layla's father's death and that they just went crazy, the mercenaries, they killed him. And he says it was his partner, who Jose told us in that episode is this guy Bushman, who's actually like Moon Knight's main villain. He was like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you could do Moon Knight without doing Bushman. Basically, he's kind of goes hand in hand with him. It seems like if they're doing that, they're probably setting him up for a second season or something like that, like Bushman the villain. But that episode with Jose, like you mentioned earlier, it's aging like a fine wine. Like go back at this point even and listen to that. And like he talks about I think it's Jeff Lemire wrote this comic book run in like 2016 of Moon Knight, where it takes place in a mental asylum and whatnot. And I think we're headed towards that direction, especially at the end of this one.
And I think every time I've blogged Moon Knight, I'm like, and if you haven't watched the Jose video yet, please go back and do so. And I'm not doing it to like gain the numbers or anything like that. I'm doing it
It truly helps your understanding of the show.
And like after seeing the little bit of Thor teaser, I'm like, yep, we're gonna definitely need Jose for that.
Yeah.
So that's a great call for you. But yeah, it's a lot to take in, to say the least.
Yeah, so he is confronted by Arthur Harrow once he gets the thing from the bruised esophagus, and convinces Layla of this. She confronts Steven. It's like, I gotta talk to Mark. Gets real serious. She gets to talk to Mark at the end, and then Harrow shoots Mark, Steven, Jake, whoever you want to call him, Oscar Isaac, and he wakes up in the white padded walls of the mental asylum. And he's like, what the fuck is happening? He's in a wheelchair. They're like, oh, we sedated you. Like, chill out. Tries to get out of the wheelchair when he sees himself in a reflection, and he's tied to it, kind of like he was tied to the bed. So it's like, oh,
Yep.
shit, what's going on here? We see his boss. We see all characters from the show that we've seen also as inmates in the mental asylum. And he goes in for a meeting with Ethan Hawke. I don't want to call him Arthur Harrow.
Just Ethan Hawke. Yeah, I like
He's
that.
Ethan Hawke. He's got a mustache. He's got kind of like more regular hair, and it seems as if he's like the therapist in this world. And he's like, "Am I talking to Mark right now? Like, I don't want to talk to Steven." And he's like, "You know about Steven?" And he's so confused. Oscar Isaac actually gives a great performance of just being completely befuddled by the whole thing.
Yep.
And they bring him out into the front. It also, the way it goes over, I forgot to mention, is like in the form of an adventure television show. Almost seemed like Land of the Lost or something. It was like
Super
an old
cheesy
show. Yeah. It was, and like the aspect ratio changed. You could tell it was like an old TV show that they were going for. And the adventurer's name was Stephen Grant in that, which was like, oh shit, is that where he got that? And he has a fucking Moon Knight action figure. But it's like, it's not like exactly Moon Knight, but it looks a lot like him. Which as soon as I saw that too, I was like, fucking collectors are gonna want that version of Moon Knight. Like me, they're gonna be like, "Can I have the mental asylum version that Steven had?" Yeah, but crazy trippy ending to the episode. Really, really well done, and like definitely one of those turns that you're gonna remember about Moon Knight. One of the moments that I think after the show is all said and done, we'll remember that as an episode ending. Also impressive that they did the first episode without Khonshu and kept it very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think they even have Khonshu in it. It kept my attention the entire time. And diehard Khonshu guy.
Yeah.
I loved how cheesy the VHS was.
Yeah.
Like it looked so lame.
It made me like want to watch that show. I like those like cheesy old vibes. I used to watch like the Land of the Lost stuff before school, and it used to just like give me a warm feeling of like, yeah, nothing wrong's gonna go, nothing bad's gonna happen in these shows.
I loved Land of the Lost growing up, and as I think about it, it might have been a completely different Land of the Lost. I don't know if it was one of the '90s you watch, or if there was a new. I think there might have been a newer one.
They made a movie that was, I think it was like Will Ferrell or something.
Maybe
but
that's
I
what it
used to
is.
watch the old one because my mom used to watch that growing up. So she was kind of like, this is what I used to watch when I was little, and she showed me like the old one, and I loved that.
Land of the Lost had fire fucking song
Yeah.
too. I didn't think we were talking Land of the Lost, and man, I'm gonna go down.
What was the Land of the Lost aliens? Do you remember the name of them? They had like a funny name.
No, did they have a funny name?
Yeah.
Land of the Lost. So there's a 1970.
Slee Stacks. Yeah.
So I watched the remake series of 91, so you end up watching the OG version as it's all said and done. You know, like this is Bob Fox. This is the guy who watched like this fucking 70s Batman show. Like who am I talking
66,
to?
hey.
66, yeah, exactly. Let's not skip a decade here.
Well, that's when they made the movie, yeah.
But 91 was definitely the one I watched here. And what was the name of the aliens?
Slee Stacks.
Slee Stacks.
And they're great. It's actually a great alien design. Like when you look that up, it's the big black eyes that you would see on like, what they call like a gray, the alien or whatever. But they're green guys. They got scales. Yeah. Shout out Land of the Lost, and probably some old basement guys and girls out there that enjoy that. Also, this is going off Moon Knight for just a second again. You mentioned the Winning Time show, the Lakers show on HBO Max.
Winning Time.
Question on behalf of nerds in the basement that don't really know much about the Lakers of that era. Is that a good show for like I don't want to say non-sports fans, but people just not in the know about that?
I think so. I loved it, and granted, I am a sports fan, but just like it's Hollywood, and it's Adam McKay does it. So if you like Adam McKay stuff, you like
Adam
John
McKay.
C. Reilly. And it's just like a fun show. It's just a fun ass show. And it's like Hollywood is a character in the movie. And I've only watched 3 episodes, and there's some crazy shit that I didn't even know happened. So if you are a sports fan and you're like, I don't really care about like the Showtime Lakers, trust me, crazy shit. Magic Johnson becoming Magic Johnson, living the LA life. Dr. Buss, Jerry Buss, who's Jeannie, who's the current owner, her dad, who turned the Lakers into what they were. He was like, spoiler, episode 1, like I think the first scene, he wakes up in the Playboy Mansion. So it's like Hollywood is a fucking character in the show, and it is crazy, man. It's Hollywood in the 70s.
I've heard very good things, and I've been like, I wonder if I would like that, even though I don't know shit about it. So that's my answer. Yeah,
100% yes, Bob. You download that for the flight to Columbus. You watch an episode or 2 on the plane. You have to there's a little bit of nudity, so you have to kind of like pull it close to you, the iPad, when you don't want anyone else seeing. Nice. This got to do a sexual episode right here. We're discussing how much good of a lover. And listen, I take back some of what I said. Stephen Grant, he's a lover, where I think Mark is more of a fucker, but I just don't think he's good at sex. So I do apologize.
He doesn't seem like someone that's good at sex. He could learn. He seems like he's willing to learn.
GetRoman.com/dogwalk. Free ad right there for the boys. He's going to need that. I could just say, I feel like Steven will need that, or I don't think Mark would, even though they're the same body. I'm going to ask this question because it's based on the cheesy VHS movie, which was called it wasn't Tomb Raider. It was something like that though, right?
I have it pulled up in where is this? I forget what it was, but it was it was a very funny VHS cover as well.
So I'm going to ask this question, and I promise I'm not going. This isn't a shame thing, and I think the answer is yes. But if it's not, it's going to hurt me.
Okay.
Robbie Fox.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a VHS or a VCR in your life?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Plenty when I was growing up. So much. God. Yeah.
I just hope by the time you were able to get everything going, it was just straight DVDs. And if I'm here doing a podcast with someone who's like, I've never touched a VCR in my life, it would make me feel 1,000%.
No, I've actually told the story. Mama Fox, the saint that this podcast is named after, used to used to tape old Batman episodes from when I fell asleep. And then she would label the VHS. She would go to ShopRite, buy the blank VHSs. She would label them all by villain. So I would be able to go into the closet where she put all of them, and I'd be like Mr. Freeze, the Riddler, Egghead, fucking King Tut, all of them.
What a goddamn mom!
That kind of ties it back to Moon Knight. There was a villain called King Tut in the 1966 show, invented for just the show, and he was just this fat guy. I think he was like a historian, and I think he found out that Batman was Bruce Wayne, or Bruce Wayne was Batman, and then he got a concussion and forgot.
Concussion. That was the earlier version of Will Smith Tell the Truth. It's this guy was so fucked up he forgot who Batman was. Can I hear Mama Fox telling you that she recorded a couple episodes with Mr. Freeze and King Tut and all that?
Yeah. Rob, there was a bunch of episodes on last night, Rob, and the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin. I know all these people, but King Tut, Egghead? Who's Egghead?
Went to ShopRite and I got some. I mean, just an absolute peach of a woman. We've talked about her on the pod. Large, I think, is in love with her on the radio. Mrs. Fox is just the absolute best. I mean, the name Mrs. Fox. What a goddamn name.
She just moved,
right?
by the way. Shout out Mama Fox. Her dream her whole life is she's been like, I would love a beach house. And she just moved to the Jersey Shore.
Good work. I mean, if anyone deserves it,
realized, yeah.
Anything is possible, in the words of Kevin Garnett. But I mean, you kind of touched on it though. That room, as soon as I saw that white room, like, this is gonna fuck me up. Yeah. And again, the Jose.
Like, is the show even real?
Yeah.
Do we know if the show is real? I think it is. And I think in the comic that Jose told us about, he was like, eventually he like makes a Moon Knight suit out of like sheets and like jumps out and realizes he has to like live the world. But then he said like the city turns into ancient Egypt and he sees sand all over the city. I hope they get into that stuff.
Me too. Yep. And again, Jose warned of all this shit, and it gets even crazier. And listen, the bingo was going on, which I'm like, that probably means something.
Yeah.
The goldfish.
I was trying to listen to like the numbers. I was like, is that like 73? Is that like 7th or 3rd issue of something? Was the first appearance of whatever.
Mephisto.
By the way, it was Tomb Buster. That was the name of the VHS.
Tomb Buster. Nice.
Tomb Buster. Yeah.
I saw the goldfish, the cupcakes, which obviously, the first episode where he had the chase scene, the guards, like you said, the guards were people that we've seen before, blah, blah, all that stuff. I was fine. I was like, all right, it's a lot to take in. My guy, Jose, prepared me. And then we met a talking hippo. And that's what
the fuck was the hippo? What was that? People are talking about it. I think it is a character from the comics. It's another god. It's an Egyptian goddess, Tawret or something like that. And she is the goddess of childbirth and fertility. What does that mean? Because someone tweeted us, Clem, a while ago. I forget who it was. I wish I could credit them. But they said in the comics, there's a storyline where Jake Lockley, this menace, gets one of Mark's ex-girlfriends pregnant. And he's got no idea because Jake did it. Goddess of fertility. What the fuck's going on here? Also, he sees another tomb. He lets himself out of a tomb at the end. Like Mark lets Steven out of a tomb and they hug each other. They're like, oh my God, we're here. And then they walk past another tomb. Jake had to be in there. They don't let him out, which is interesting that they weren't even curious about that. But yeah.
Seeing how they like embrace each other was cool too, considering they've been like rivals the entire time on the show. So again, the Basement Boys can come together. Our boys are together. We're together. We're one on this show. I like how it's all coming together right now, except for the fucking hippo girl. This double god thing it seems a little much. And that was actually another thing is Khonshu in the beginning gets placed and you kind of see him with all the other gods who have been kind of trapped in statue form. So I feel like that's going to come around. And we talked about this on the YouTube exclusive that you must go back and watch if you haven't watched it, if you're a podcast listener. We're in Godland right now in Marvel. There's a lot of things, there's space Marvel, there's Earth Marvel, there's all these different things. We have Magic Marvel, which is going to be a big part of with Wanda and Doctor Strange. God Marvel is something my brain isn't really ready for. However, I do like when we, again, with Alexander the Great we're touching on, or any kind of stuff that, Zeus and Thor, any of these gods that do exist like in the real world in terms of at least being written about. I love that shit. I don't know about you. If you go to a movie and it's based on true events, like what was the name of that movie, the World War II movie about the boats that they took them back and forth?
Dunkirk?
Dunkirk, yes.
Yeah.
Did you see Dunkirk?
Oh, yeah.
Did you go home immediately and read all about it on Wikipedia? I do that after every real.
I love looking up like what was real and what did they make up for the movie. I love that.
I love that shit too. Churchill, same thing. I went to see Churchill in the movie theater, went home, right, like did a whole deep dive on him. I love that kind of shit. So I could see me doing a lot of, I might go on an Alexander the Great hunt after I'm done with my Land of the Lost rewatch. So I just wanted to see if I was the only one. And I also got to shout myself out because thanks to everyone, there was a bunch of people who hit me up with different things about the yelling uncontrollably. It was like a Will Ferrell skit. There was a bunch of different things, but it was Austin Powers. He's like, when he gets unfrozen, he can't control the volume of his voice. And I couldn't believe I actually got that reference right. I couldn't get it all the way for the episode, but it turns out I'm not a complete moron, just like 90% moron. So I did get that. So again, nothing seems real. Robbie's fucking finishing my thoughts before I can even get them out. Oh, and by the way, Abdullah El Faluli, did not see that name coming for Layla's dad. Layla and Abdullah El Faluli.
Yeah. Not Indiana Jones.
Yeah, not Indiana Jones. Well, certainly not Indiana Jones.
I have a surprise for you. You might see me. I was just looking down. I was pulling up, an anonymous source that we have, a
Oh boy.
listener of the podcast, wanted to stay anonymous, actually rode the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Got a preview of it, and I said, "Hey, can you like let us know what it was like?" And I do have a very interesting message from
Uh-oh.
this anonymous source about what it was like. He said, or she said, or they said, the ride is awesome. Didn't get to go through the actual line because they're still constructing the actual line, but there's going to be put in a Rocket Raccoon and Groot animatronic that they're still building. And the ride isn't a part of like main MCU canon, so it's not like going
Okay.
forward with what the storyline is right at this moment. So they said it's adult Groot in the ride and normal Gamora, not the one that's in Endgame, not like the reincarnated Gamora
Yeah.
that doesn't remember the rest of the gang. And the story of the ride is that you're at a Xandarian outpost on Earth, and a Celestial has stolen a power generator, and you have to steal it back. The song that plays, this is a pretty big scoop, I
This is
think,
big.
is Disco Inferno by the Tramps, and it fits the ride perfectly. The ride starts with a backwards launch too, which was very sick. And they said, I don't think you're supposed to say this. So obviously don't mention my name. I said, I won't mention your name. And they said the physical car you sit in rotates and spins and it's like makes the whole thing dark with great effects. Another thing that they noted is that originally they were going to have a giant celestial animatronic inside the ride that like goes to swipe at you as you
Oh
go
shit.
past, but they're not doing that anymore. Apparently, that was like too much. They were like, we can't build a fucking celestial.
I was wondering if they were like, Eternals didn't have like a good enough Rotten Tomatoes rating, so we're not gonna break our back putting
They're
it in
probably
there.
like, wait, they saw Eternals. They were like, wait, that's how big they're supposed to be? No, we can't put one of those in
Yeah,
Disney.
fuck that, man. Like Disney's like, I can give you magic. What do they call them? The Imagineers. Like, I can give you guys
Yeah.
magic, but I can't make a fucking celestial in a ride that has regular people.
Sounds cool. The thought of like a celestial swiping at you as you go past reminds me of there was a Jurassic Park. I don't know if it's still there. When I went, I was like 4 years old to Universal. There's a Jurassic Park log flume. I think that's what they call it, log flume. Where
Yeah, Lock Flume. Yep.
and when you got to the top, it was like a T Rex went to bite you just as you go over, and I thought that was the coolest thing when I was little.
I love log flumes. It's I'm kind
Yeah,
of a
those were
pussy.
fun.
I'm
You
a
get like
pussy when it
wet
comes
into
to
them, but
rides.
you put on the poncho or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You might get wet. Yeah, if you go on like a 50-degree day, you're gonna like ruin your day. But other than that, I love it. For some reason, I like don't get scared of log flumes as much as you're scared of other rides that might have the same exact dip because it's like being
Agreed.
in water. It kind of just throws everything off.
I'm
I'm
not
not
a
a loopy
roller
loop
coaster
guy.
guy. Yeah, I don't like roller coasters,
Yep.
but I do like water slides, and the log flume is sort of like the hybrid.
hmm I can fuck with some roller coasters, but no loops. And the worst is holding my wife's purse as she goes on the ride, and then I see like 8-year-olds go on the ride. Now that I have like a daughter who's 7, and if she goes on the ride, it's like I either have to like
Well,
face
yeah.
my fears or basically just like leave my family because there's just no way I
Here's
could
a
live with them.
weird one. How do you feel about Ferris wheels? I'm fine with Ferris wheels, but some people are like terrified of them because what if you get stuck at the top?
Ferris wheel, the Ferris wheel is the most like low key, scary, safe ride ever. Because when you're
Yeah,
up there, because you're like, oh, it's just a Ferris wheel, sure,
it's
honey.
a cool
And then you're up
view.
there
Yeah,
and it's blowing. If you go on like a windy
yeah.
day, and you're just like, and you're like, and it's not even that fun of a ride. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing up here? And I think Ferris wheels are overrated. They're cool looking, but they are just not worth the headaches. I don't like Ferris wheels.
It depends on where you are. I think if you're going on a Ferris wheel, it has to be in a nice place with a nice view.
Nice view,
Like
yes.
the I went on one Ferris wheel probably in the last 10 years, and it was on the Santa Monica Pier. And it was like you got to overlook the water, cool picture spot or whatever. That was like kind of my exception. I was like, yeah, I'll do a Ferris wheel on the Santa Monica Pier. If it's like the New Jersey State Fair in the Meadowlands
Mhm.
parking lot, I'm not doing that Ferris wheel.
And you know what? I feel like this is the case with all Ferris wheels. There's always a chance of it. I feel like hand jobs are a big thing. If like it's like a Ferris
Yeah.
wheel thing, and in the Jersey, like in the Meadowlands parking lot,
Yeah.
you're
Oh, yeah.
like look twice before you sit
Hit a
down because you don't
black
know what
light
you're
on one of those things, and it's just covered in cum. Definitely.
Jackson Pollock painting, as our boy Star Lord said. So I can't believe this is why you listen to the basement, not just for the recaps or the banter about shows from the '60s, but fucking you're gonna get exclusive on Disney rides. That I mean, I didn't even know we were gonna ever get. So that's awesome,
I
man. Shout
know.
out
I
to our
thought that
anonymous
was like an
source.
actually a cool exclusive. I wish we had like if we were like a full-fledged video show with a big budget, we would have done it like the FBI where they're like blacked out and they have a voice like this and they're like, "Yes, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride was very cool. I had fun."
By the way, Disco Inferno, I'm happy. Like the music is very important. Disco
Yeah.
Inferno is also my favorite, like jokey, gimmicky wrestler of the late '90s, of like
Oh
the
yeah.
'90s on WCW. Yeah, I loved Disco Inferno, and they're like, there's a few of us, and we are diehards. We loved the fuck out of. I forgot what was the other guy's name, Alex something, and he did the kind of the dance like this. He always wore a leather jacket,
Oh
and then
yeah, I know
Disco
you're talking.
Inferno was
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of his.
yeah. Fuck, what was his name?
Disco Inferno kind of had like a nice, like he had like a brief. I think he was on like the Wolfpack for a minute. It was
And Alex Wright,
Alex Wright,
the
German.
Dancing Fools. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was their tag team name, the
Oh, the
Dancing
Dancing
Fools.
Fools. Like that was one of my. I just like that's just silly wrestling. I
You
loved
know
it.
what's
Is it?
so funny looking back to Disco Inferno, 6 foot. Combined weight of the two of them was 452. He always sort of looked like a smaller guy. Just that era of wrestlers, they were always fucking huge. Like X-Pac, another guy who
Yep.
it was always viewed as a smaller guy. I think he's like 6 foot. It's crazy.
6'1", 240. Yeah, Disco Inferno did not
Yeah.
look 6'1" or 240. He used to get the chant "Disco sucks," and I don't know. I just absolutely loved it. Is there still jokey wrestling
Oh yeah,
today? Okay, that's
big
good
time.
to know.
I
That's
like
good to know.
comedy wrestling a lot. I think there's a place for a comedy match on every wrestling card. Like I like my wrestling cards to have a comedy match, to have a real serious grudge match, to have a good tag team match, good technical match. I like a little bit of everything. I
I
think I
was
mentioned it probably on Lights Camera Barstool. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're a Jackass fan, it's worth going on Peacock and watching Johnny Knoxville's match from this year at WrestleMania. It was so well done. It was so good. Random jackass pranks throughout. Wee Man comes in,
Oh
throws a
wow.
slam. Like they had the other guys come in. It was tremendous. It was so, so, so good.
I forgot about the Jackass. I saw like a couple pictures of it, but I didn't even see the movie. The movie just like went
Oh,
in
it was
theaters, out
good.
of theaters, and it was during a time where like the kids were always home, so I could never just get out and just go to the movies for like
It's
an
on.
hour and
It's
a half.
streaming now. It's on Paramount Plus.
Yes. Okay. Well, there I go. I'm gonna get
But
Paramount
obviously,
Plus,
make sure the
Peacock.
kids are asleep in a different room, padlocked, chair against the door handle. They cannot see a second of this movie.
So I guess there's no child trafficking.
No, no,
Child
no.
trafficking it would be all right in it, but whatever is going on in
I
Jackass,
think
because we
it
know Uncle Bob.
begins with the close up of a dick. I'm pretty sure that's like the first shot of the movie is like you're like, what is that? And you're like, oh, it's a dick and balls.
They still got it. My boys in the Jackass still got it. Shout out to them.
Yeah. All right. I think we've got 2 episodes left. Next week will be the penultimate Moon Knight episode recap. This show's actually working at a pretty good pace as well. It seems like it's like trying to peak at penultimate level, which is nice. It's not peaking in the middle. This is like setting up for some crazy penultimate shit.
I'm very happy about that. And I got a hashtag for everyone that made. And actually, it's gonna go perfect because it goes next week, and then the week after is the finale, and then we're Doctor Strange. So it is
awesome. I can't wait for Doctor Strange. I'm seriously getting so excited for that. I feel bad for Moon Knight and even Miss Marvel. They're trying to like slip in some promotion for here and there. They put out the poster for. They're really flying under the radar because of Thor and Doctor Strange, I think. It's hard to sell the general people on like, check out this new Egyptian show. It's crazy. It barely connects to the MCU when they're like, but fucking Doctor Strange and Thor and the X-Men.
I'm gonna be honest. I was excited about Miss Marvel before. Like just the idea of Miss Marvel, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, you guys aren't selling me on it right now. Like I'm like, I don't know if I can do recaps on this. I need a hook on it.
I feel bad saying it. I feel the same way though.
Yeah.
Nothing about Miss Marvel is making me be like, oh my God, that looks amazing.
And I don't know a lot about the character. I do know that she's bigger in the newer version of Marvel, and Sienna loves her too. So I'm hoping it's a hit. But
Sienna will probably love it. I mean, I don't want to speak about a show that I haven't seen too much of, even in a trailer form or whatever. But like, it looks like it's made for young girls. It looks like it would be a show on. Oh, that was my text.
Oh, we got
R2D2. Yeah. It looks like it would be a show on like Nickelodeon to me.
Yeah.
Like iCarly or Victorious or one of those shows. And nothing wrong with those shows. I was a huge iCarly fan myself growing up, but that's just what the vibe of the show looks like. Which is, hey, if we're calling for variety in Marvel. That's certainly one market that they haven't hit yet. Young girls.
Maybe we have Sienna and Luke. They could do the recaps for it. In the
Yeah, My Mom's Basement Junior. Yeah.
A whole new audience. I don't know if that works with Barstool. I don't know if that's even legal to put on YouTube, but I mean, just a couple of like young kids talking Marvel. I mean,
what's the hashtag one more time?
Hashtag Basement of the Lost. Instead of Land of the Lost, Basement of the Lost right here for everyone that makes it all the way to the end. Anything for the comments? What should we throw in the comments?
We leave in the comments. Just predictions for the penultimate episode.
Yeah, hit us with
theories as out there as you could get to. I want to hear theories like Patton Oswalt's speech in Parks and Rec, where he's putting the X-Men and Chewbacca and Thanos all together. I want to hear the craziest theories he got.
Yep, one crazy theory about what's coming at the end of Moon Knight here, because we have 2 episodes.
Maybe some theories about the hippo.
Yeah, exactly. or give us a fun, real fact, like something you would find out on Wikipedia about some historical thing and be like, I never knew that. I'll give you a little thing for the people that want to do some digging. I think it's the 1908, the Summer Olympics, 1908.
Here's a fact. Alexander the Great's tomb has actually been missing for about 1,800 years.
Is that there's our fact. I'm not even going to go with my facts. I submitted this as a dog walk episode, the thing that I did. So I'll hold on to that. There's your fun fact of the day. I had no idea that was a thing. They brought it up on the show, and I was like, oh, they're just kind of making shit up.
The Lost Tomb just sounds cool, too.
It sounds so fucking
cool. And they're like, the Lost Tomb of, you could say anyone. You could say, like, the most ridiculous. You could say the Lost Tomb of Billy Mays. And I'd be like, whoa.
And you know what I bet Alexander the Great once did to Cleopatra? Bruised her esophagus.
Oh, all right. We're calling it.
It was a mature podcast.
Even. Yeah, it's Herb Dean stepping in. It is all over. We will see everybody next week.